Islam. First, I give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe. I give honor to his holy and divine prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor, excuse me, I give honor to all of you who have joined us this evening. I give honor to my sisters on the panel. Welcome back to Girl Talk, Real Talk, Moorish Talk. Tonight's topic is the joys and pains on the journey back to Allah. I am Sister Ingrid Ill, Temple 71, Washington, D.C. Peace.
Islam, giving all rise to our Father God Allah, Father of the universe, giving honors to our Prophet Noble Drew Ali, giving honors to all that the sister gave honors to, giving honors to each and every one of you. I am Sister T. Britt Bay from Washington, D.C., Temple number 71. Peace.
Islam, Islam, Islam. I like to rise, giving all praises to Allah, honor the Prophet Noble Ali, honors to each and every one of you, honors to all of those that are their ears are tuned in. Praise Allah. Ramadan Mubarak. And this is Sister T. Hopkins Bay, Tiffany Hopkins Bay from Temple number 11 out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Islam.
Islam, I'm Sister A. Raven Obey at Temple number 21. First, I arise and give praise to the great God of the universe, Allah. I give honor to our holy prophet. I give honor to my sisters here in this conversation. I give honor to all those that are going to join us in tonight's conversation. May Allah be with us all. Peace. All right, who's going to kick us off?
Islam. So I'm gonna start off with our first question, which is in the movie, the childhood movie that we all are familiar with, The Wizard of Oz. Each character needed or wanted something specific from the Oz. Which character, if any, can you identify with, or what's something you need on your journey back to Allah? And I'll go first. I chose the Cowardly Lion. The Cowardly Lion wanted courage. And I chose courage because I need courage to accept, speak, and be about the truth. When I think about accepting the truth, I think about it in terms of accepting just what is. Accepting first that I am not Negro, Black, colored, or Ethiopian. That I am made in the image and after the likeness of my Father God, Allah. And what greater person to want to follow or to be like? You know, I think in terms of all that he has the power to do, all that he has created, yeah, I want to be like him. Because I can think about many people that I tried to be like in life just to be accepted. And it just never worked out. The other thing was to be able to speak the truth. Speak the truth to my loved ones, speak the truth to my friends, and not be in fear or worry about where the relationship is going to go. When I think about me speaking the truth, I think about Jesus in the wilderness when he was tempted by the tempter. And, you know, he had no problem with speaking the truth to the tempter. He had no fear. He had no worry at all. And he ended it and he stamped it by saying, my heart is fixed. And I want that kind of courage to speak truth to my loved ones and friends, not to hurt, not to harm, not to put down, but to uplift. And not worry about, you know, where the relationship gonna go, and just know in my heart that, you know, Allah will give the understanding when and where it's needed. And the other one, was change. I wanted the courage to change. You know, people are so used to who I used to be, and I'm not that person. And, you know, you never want to hear, oh, you changed, oh, you different. But, you know, in all honesty, I don't even care if I hear that. You know, I don't care how people feel about me not being that Tracy that I used to be. I like the Tracy that I'm seeing, and that I'm learning to know. Um, Change, when I think about that, according to truth cannot change nor pass away. And I can remember, when I was like wholeheartedly in the world, man, I tried to change to fit into so many sets and groups and be liked by this person and that person. And, truth be told, that was hard to do. But it's only one way with truth. It's only one way. And all I got to do is just be me.
Mm.
So with that, I say peace.
Peace. Thank you, sis. Repeat your question one more time. I think it was, yeah, repeat it
Yeah,
for me
so
one
in
more
The
time.
Wizard of Oz, each character needed or wanted something specific from the Oz. Which character, if any, can you identify with? Or what's
Mm,
something you need on your journey back to Allah? And I'm sorry, I didn't share. The Tin Man, he wanted a heart. The Scarecrow wanted a brain. The Cowardly Lion wanted courage. And Dorothy, she just wanted to go home.
hmm I think, thank you, sister, for that question. Because I would say, Dorothy, she was searching for something that she already had. I think sometimes in our life, at least for me, you searching somewhere else, thinking the answer is going to be by doing something or seeking something. And the reality is, my real job is just to know thyself and thy Father
Yes,
God Allah. And if I can
yes.
just stay focused on that, stay focused on, sometimes in world you get caught up of, okay, this is supposed to happen in my life. These things are supposed to happen. I'm supposed to get, have children, or I'm supposed to do all these other things. And it's not to say that you shouldn't be able to do it, but at first seek the I'm trying to quote it. Seek ye
Kingdom,
the
the
first
kingdom.
of kingdom of heaven, right? I'm
Yeah,
supposed to be focusing on Allah first, and all those things will come. And so, just
yes.
like Dorothy, I think sometimes, particularly in this world, you start going on a path thinking that's the right way, and then you realize, wait a minute, I had that all along. Oh, you mean if I just sat down and talked to Allah, or if I just sat down and meditated and be still? Oh, wait a minute, I'm asking around looking for help, and I could have figured that out, So I think Dorothy is one of these for me, because I can see sometimes I'll go in there thinking that I am searching or looking for something. And the prophet has here, if man would find his savior, he must look within. And when the
Yes,
demon self has been dethroned, the savior love will be exalted to the throne of power. So for me, I definitely think it's Dorothy would be the one, and that power of love, that we have to, prophet said, you gotta learn to love. It's a learning process. You don't have it all at once, even if
exactly.
you think you do. It's
Exactly.
it's a learning process. Peace.
Peace.
Islam. I would probably say Dorothy as well. Um, I grew up in a home with two parents and three children and a yard and a swing set and ducks and dogs and all those things. Um, but there was some turmoil in that house secretly, right? And I always wanted to create the haven that I felt I missed out on. I wanted to create that for myself all over again as an adult. Um, especially after 2006. Um, and I realized that I really just wanted to feel at peace. You know, your when you come to your home, whether in a house or an apartment or wherever you're at, you want to be at peace. And I think to me, Dorothy wanted to be back home because that's where there was peace. On that road, there was some things going on, and it was a little bit too much for her.
Yes,
And
it was.
you know, and and on this road back to Allah, I've been on through some things, and when you come home, when I come home, I'm at peace. It's my most peaceful space. And when I'm out, I have to mentally travel to a peaceful place, which is here. I always share how there was a time I used to dread to go home because I would be by myself and my head was noisy and so on and so forth. But now when I'm out, I fantasize about being at home, like I just need to get up in there, and relax. And home is peace for me. Inside is peaceful for me, yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. Peace.
Mhm.
Praise Allah.
Praise Allah, Islam. So it's so funny that praise Allah for the question, but it is very funny that the sister had this question because I never really thought of it. Like, of course, when you watch the movie, you think of it, but just like randomly, like you don't really think about stuff like that. But I was thinking, wow, like the scarecrow needed a brain, the Tin Man needed a heart, and the lion needed courage. I feel like we can't just pick one. You can't just pick one. Um, because the prophet told us if I can get you to think, you can save yourselves. That's number one. And then we're also talking about the heart and how to love. Love is the only
Yeah.
savior of the world. So, and then having courage enough for truth. And I'm sure all of y'all probably touched on that, but it's just deep, so you can't really pick one. I think it's such a message in that movie,
Yes,
in
it
those
is.
characters, because that's a lot talking. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just a little before my time, but praise Allah is definitely some lessons in there. And being, conscious and aware when you think about those type of things, it's like, wow, if it was three separate entities, they was people but not really people, but it's three different entities that needed all of those things. Look at just us as one person that needs all that.
Yes, yes,
That's heavy.
yeah,
And I think at times it was also demonstrating that sometimes some of us may have a little more than what we have, and we may have more of something that someone else doesn't have. And so
yes.
the encouragement was there from each of them.
Yes, it
So
was.
the love was there. They was able to, help each other out on that road, on that yellow brick
Yes, they
road. That
stayed together.
that,
Yes,
that
they
was
stuck to each
powerful.
other. Yes, they
That's right. And it was such a blessing. It was such a blessing. So for me, I would definitely say on my journey, I need all those things. And I think at times we may seem confident in certain ways. And I have been told that. You seem very confident, you seem very this, that, and third. And I'm like, me? Oh my goodness. Like, no, I'm not. But praise Allah, um, of perception. And praise Allah for having for being able to carry the weight of what may be on your shoulders or what you may be dealing with, but still being able to put a smile on your face and walking with your head
yeah,
held high. At the end of
yeah.
the day, you working with something. You're not letting it tear you down. So high honors
Hmm.
um to the Sister Britt Bay for the question, because that was a very powerful question. With that, I say peace.
Praise a lot. I thought about that because I thought about, let me tell you, when I was a little girl, I always was excited to watch this show. It came on once a year. And it seemed like it always came on like around time. It was time for us to go back to school. But nevertheless, I thought about, when I was thinking about the topic, I had thought about several things, but I thought about their journey. And then I started having, thoughts in my head of everything that went on. I mean, the witch, the wicked witch, how she would come and torment them on the travel when they were on the yellow brick road. And I think in terms of us in life, you know what I'm saying, the things that we encounter. And I thought about the unity that they had when each of them, even when the scarecrow, when I forgot what happened, but I remember all his hate was something came and took all the hay out of his body, and how they all got together to put him back together. And that's really the unity that we have to have on this journey back to Allah, uplifting and upholding one another, going through the storms, being able to be there for one another when we going through these storms. So I just thought that that was just the perfect ideal in terms of going back to Allah, just thinking about their travels and everything that they encountered, but yet nothing broke them apart. They stuck it out and rocked it out with one another. Peace.
Peace. Well, I'll go ahead and start with the next question because you just, you talked about them being in unity in the journey. I guess my question for you all is, how do you stay focused on the path for that journey? What do you do to stay focused? And I can kick it off if you need a few moments. But I mean, I think one of the things that I try to do to stay focused is, we have obviously our meetings, we have our holy day on Friday and we have our Sunday school weekend. And, I think you heard me say before, during the pandemic, I feel like I needed more. And I was so blessed to be able to find videos of the Moors talking, the other shows, just the hearing the word, hearing it. And so I made it a part of my day now in the morning, just for 5-10 minutes to listen to, Sunday school, to say, what is Allah going to unveil to me? And I just listened to the thought, this week, our sister Brippe was on there and they were talking about the journey of Elizabeth and Mary. And, it really had me thinking about how important it is for us to think about, we talk about them as if they're some other human being, but they are us. They are us. And it really just struck with me that. So to the question, how I stay focused, that's how I do. I try my best to surround myself with the words and the teachings, because I know that Allah speaks to man through man. And I know if my brothers and sisters are speaking the word, then I'm praying that Allah is speaking through them. So that's been something that I try to do every day, just to listen so I can think about that. Because that was just really, I mean, this week's, if you haven't seen the Sunday school, it was a great topic about Elizabeth and Mary, and just reminding them that they were us. They were chosen, just like we are. We are all chosen to hear these lessons, these teachings, and we don't know what's going to be on our path. They didn't know what was going to be on their path and their job to raise, and the fear and all the difficulties that was going to happen, or harm that could happen to them and their children. And so, but they were chosen to do the job and they had to step in and do it. And so it really just made me pause and think, we are blessed to hear these words. We are blessed to be in this temple, and we are chosen to be on this path. And we got to support each other when we're on this journey even more, because we don't know sometimes the things that we're going to have to deal with, but we can do it. So that's a thing that popped in my head when I thought about this question.
Islam, when you say focus, do you mean focus in general or focus on what exactly?
Yeah. So when I was thinking of the word focus, it's like, we know we're on this journey back to Allah, but
Mhm.
sometimes that we can come out of focus. Things could pull me at least out the way. And so what is it that you do, or how do you help yourself getting back on track? you know
Okay. Praise Allah. Because I was going to say, there's nothing I do to stay focused because I don't stay focused. I have to get back into focus because sometimes I come off of focus. You know, um, and what I do is I call on Allah. Allah step in. Sometimes it's just that simple. I say it just like that. Allah step in. Allah, I
hmm
need you. Allah, come on, Allah. Come on, Allah. Sometimes, and it's really kind of just
Mm.
that simple for me. And I start to visualize what it is I'm needing him to do, because sometimes I can't say it in words, but he knows my heart, he knows my thoughts. So I start to manifest it in thought of what it is I need Allah to come in and fix, and come in and help me with, or come in to remove. Um, Sometimes I have to literally beg for certain things to break free from whatever it is that I'm dealing with, because it's unbearable. So I just, like I said, I call on them. You know,
Right.
that's what how simple it is just for me. Yeah. Peace. Mm.
Peace.
It's I think that trying to stay focused on the path, sometimes it can be a little difficult. Um,
Mhm.
but the way, like because it's so deep. Me and my husband, we was having this conversation. I believe it was this morning, and we were like, it's not that certain thoughts don't come in our minds.
Mhm.
It's the fact that we have to put those bad thoughts away. Like, no, we got to turn our
Mhm.
head, for our mind from them. Like, no, that's not good. We're not doing that, because we stand on this righteous path. Uh, um, and it was a blessing to know that for me, I'm not the only one that has certain thoughts. And sometimes, we think back in the day when we were different, when we were doing things in a certain way, and we look back and we were like, were those good times? And some of them, in all honesty, they were good times, but it's because we didn't know ourselves. We didn't
Mm.
know any better. We didn't know how to do things in a certain way. I'm speaking for myself personally. And so at times I think about, like, yeah, those memories may be good, but there's a lesson in those things. And so that brings me be you know to being in the present day. And it's like, staying on this path does not mean that you're not going to have moments of weakness, excuse me, moments of misery, moments of inconstancy. This is what Allah and the Prophet is telling us about in our holy Quran. And you have to continuously keep reading it over and over again, because they're telling you about yourself. Weak and ignorant as thou art, oh
Mhm.
man, that's
Mhm.
you. That's me. And so for me to know that this is Allah revealing to the Prophet that he has to let me know this, and that this is a problem that I have to face and I have to work on, then it's something I got to work on. So my path back to Allah is going to have a lot of um ups and downs, bumpy roads, this, that, and the third, because man is bold.
Hmm.
Man is also truth and falsehood strangely mixed. We have got to remember that. So it's not nobody else, it's us. It's our own carnal nature that makes us have these different thoughts, and our carnal thoughts. And but we have to be realistic with ourselves. These
Absolutely.
are things that we are all struggling with.
Yes.
We are
Mhm.
all
Yes.
battling these things, and it's only within self. It's nobody else outside of you. It is within yourself. And so, staying on this righteous path, as best I can. And I can honestly sit here and say, I don't there's not days that I don't fall off. I fall off like any other human being.
Absolutely.
But to get back on is the key. Cause see, some
Mhm.
fall off and just be like, I'm done, I'm tired of falling.
Yeah.
But what is this? Where's the saving power in that? If you just
Yes.
stop, where's the saving power? No,
Mhm.
we gotta get back up. We gotta understand and remember that this we're here for a reason. And the ultimate reason is to be back at one with our Father God Allah. So we're gonna keep doing it over and over again until we get it right. So praise Allah. For me, that's my path. It's rocky. Sometimes it's slippery, but the path is the path, and at the ultimate end of it is to get back to being at one with Allah.
Absolutely.
Praise Allah.
Islam. You
Um,
said a mouthful, sis. I couldn't have said it any better than you, because that was going to be the first thing that I was going to have to express, is the fact that I'm not always able to get back on that path. Some days it's kind of rough, and I just look forward to the morning, but it is very rocky. I don't have perfect days. I have better days than yesterday. But to get back on that path, what helps me is my consistency in my studies. I'll say that. Because when I look back at whenever I would fall before before making up my mind to even travel this journey, when I would fall, there were times I just stayed down. And stayed down for months, maybe years, in my mess, doing whatever it was I was doing. So even still today, it's not to that degree. And that's only because of my consistency to study these lessons and take them to heart, and actually practice them as much as it hurts. You know what I'm saying? As uncomfortable sometimes it can be, and it's only uncomfortable because of how I may be looking at the situation. But yeah, just and you know what? Having you all help me get on the path. My willingness to want to stay on this path or to get back on. Sometimes I need to hear from my sisters. You know what I'm saying? I need to, let y'all know, I'm dealing with something. I need some help. Like I've been working on this, and it just ain't coming. Just to even maybe give me another way to look at things, but keeping up front that there are going to be some rough days. I have to keep that up front, because me personally, I can get caught up in all the good times, and then when that rough day come, it take me out like a wave in the ocean, because I done got too caught up in the joy part of it.
Right.
All the good that's going on. And I remember once somebody said, you either coming out of a storm, going in a storm, or something else. But I always keep that in mind as well. So it's just the consistency of my studies and actually applying, what I'm reading each day. And another thing I want to say is, even when we fall, not for us to not be hard on ourselves, because we're told that we are, just like you said, it says truth and falsehood strangely mixed.
That's right.
And not using that as an excuse when we do some of the things that we do. Because I have to say, sometimes there are things that I do, and I'm going to be honest, I know what I'm doing. And that's just being honest. But I know that when I focus and when I purpose in my heart for that day or for that moment, like I'm standing on this truth, I'm going to walk in this truth today. When I'm on it like that, I can do it. Not saying nothing goes wrong throughout the day,
right?
But I'm just saying, for the most part of what my mission is, what I've set out for my mission to be for me that day, or just in that moment, it'll work out. It'll work out for me. So yeah, I gotta stay in my meetings. Being on this show helps. You know what I'm saying? Even during the times when I can't be on the show, I still want to know what the questions are, because that's homework for me. That's homework, because I know that my lower self is in the weight room doing push-ups, sitting on the bench, waiting to be called into the game. I know it is. So yeah, it's the consistency for me. But like I said, I have my days. Peace.
Praise Allah. Peace. That's deep. That's so powerful, man. Wow. These conversations be that real talk.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Grateful. So I have a question, and my question is, what are some of the joys and pains that you have discovered about you while studying yourself? So in essence, um, what are your joys and pains about yourself? I can start.
Okay.
Um, so sometimes when you gotta talk about yourself, it's a little hard. Like you don't know how to reveal everything, but praise um, we all here for growth and unfoldment. So praise Allah. For me, I am I'm good with my joys. I know that I am a person who cares for people. I have like that motherly nature to the core. Sometimes like you are not this person's mother. You have got to calm down. And I'll be like, praise a lot. And but it's just something, it's something in me. Like even if I don't feel like being that person that's like telling other people's children what to do, I'll tell somebody else like y'all need to get them children because they need to calm down. Seriously. But that's just something that's in me. Um, but I've been that way since I was like 3 or 4 years old. Like people literally do not. They think I'm like really storytelling when I'm like, I was cooking at 3 years old, and they're like, that is like that's not even possible. And I'm telling you, every single person in my family could tell you that I did. And it's because they wouldn't make me nothing to eat, so that I was forced to learn. Praise Allah for being hungry enough to go through that. But that is a true statement. Um, so there are the things about myself, the joys that I have for are just how I learned to love me. Um, that is not something that as sisters we easily come into. I think that we often look to others for what we should be and how we should be and how we should think and how we should look and love and feel. And I feel like I'm grateful for that's like one of my joys. Now being at the age that I am, at the point in life that I am that's one of my greatest joys to love who I am and be accepting of who I am.
Mm.
It's major. It's major because I remember when it was the opposite. But praise Allah for that. My pains are sometimes I have like what is it, undiagnosed anxiety. I know that I have it because I'm like always all over the place, always have a lot going on. I take on multiple jobs knowing that I probably shouldn't, um but I do, and then I'm scrambling to get everything done. It's yeah, that's and I don't know why. It's like I can't. Like I had a day off yesterday and I couldn't sit still. I'm like I'm in the yard gardening, and I'm like, you're not even a gardener. But because the person didn't come that I wanted to garden, I just felt like I had to do it myself. And my husband was like, you shouldn't do that. But praise Allah, Allah knows what I know not. So those are some of the things that I struggle with. A little bit of an over ambitiousness, anxiety. Those are my pains, and my joys is loving me and motherhood. That's me all wrapped up. Praise Allah.
Islam.
Islam.
Um, so one of my joys is for me is seeing other people with joy or being able to, I don't want to say give them joy, but I like to call people and say something uplifting, just to put a smile on their face. because we living in some days and times where it's just so much going on. News is depressing. There's a lot going on in our communities. So I always, I get joy from other people's joy.
Mm,
When I can see other people laughing and just happy, you know what I'm saying? That
mm,
that brings me a lot of joy, and it brings me about a quick little story about some friends of mine that have their own business, and you know, people are having trouble finding good help. And these friends of mine, they just got together and started their own new business, and they've been given, some close friends and family members an opportunity to work with them.
mhm,
And it just hasn't been working out. And then they stumbled across someone that they hired, and the particular person that they hired couldn't read, but this person was willing to learn how to do all that it took to run this business successfully. Now I thought about, the people that they hired before had the ability to read and do everything, count, clean, do everything, but they ain't want to come to work. They ain't want to do the work. They murmured, they complained, they found reasons to not come in. But this particular person that couldn't read probably wasn't that good with, cleaning and sweeping and counting and things of that nature. But the person had the heart for the job. And they shared with me that at first they had to let the person go. They called me last Friday, and last Thursday was like a rainstorm in my life. It was a rough day for me. They called me last Friday morning and shared with me, long story short, that they called that person back to work, the person that couldn't read. And you know what? Y'all know I'm mushy. And that thing there, when I say the day before, I had a rough day and I couldn't wait for Friday morning to come. When that person called me and gave me that news, oh my goodness. It blessed me so much because, see, I remember when I was trying to earn back the trust of my loved ones from a life that I lived, and I had damaged that trust. And all I wanted was a chance to prove myself again. And I can only imagine when that individual got that phone call from my friends to come back. I can only imagine how that person felt, that somebody was going to take the time out to be patient, to teach them, and all of those things, all for the sake of the fact that, like I said, sometimes it ain't even worth a person having all the skills. It's the heart. It's the love that they have or the passion that they have for a certain thing. Stuff like that, it just brightens my day. So that's the kind of joy I like. I like stuff like that. I like to feel good. I like to make people feel good about themselves, about whatever, whatever life presents to them. I just want people to be happy. I like singing that. And the pain, depending on how I look at my journey, it can be painful sometimes. Um, and I want to read, because when I thought about the pain, I remember the prophet said this: as joy is not without its alloy of pain, so neither is sorrow without its portion of pleasure. Joy and grief, though unlike, are united. Our own choice only can give them to us entirely. And I thought about that. So, how I look at how some of the life challenges that I have to go through, I also thought about gold. Good gold has to go through fire to get the impurities out. So, with the understanding of the pain that I experienced on this journey, with the understanding, it sort of eases the pain because I have to go through. Prophet told us that man must pass through all the ways of life. Did not say it was going to be easy. Did not say it was going to be joyful.
All the time.
Even Jesus went through some things in that wilderness again, but he went through. So in order for me to get to the good, I got to go through the fire. But I got to trust. You know what I'm saying? I got to trust that I'm going to come out on the other side with no stench on me. You won't even know I've been through the fire. And I can say that about some portions of my life, that I've already gone through the fire. And there are no blemishes of what I came from. When people hear those stories, they like, you lying. You ain't go through that. You ain't do that. Yes, I did. That's Allah. So when I look at, when I think of pain, I don't think of pain, literally pain anymore. I have to change how I look at that, how I see pain. So I can welcome the pain, and just go through. In order for me, the best of me, the best version of me, I gotta go through. Purity paved the way for love. So I got to be purified. So with that understanding, I'll say peace. It's too quiet on here. Okay.
I wasn't sure if Sister Reverend Faye was gonna go. But Sister Hawkins Bay, you have me beat because I started literally cooking at 5. Literally standing in a chair cooking.
Right.
Pancakes on a long cast iron griddle. You know, my stepmother used to buy me these Hungry Jacks in like a little bitty milk carton.
Mm.
They were yellow. I remember it was Hungry Jack pancake mix that all you did was add water. She bought those for me when they realized my zeal on wanting to cook, because I had started playing with fire and sticking food in the fire, like dry spaghetti or bread or things of that nature, you know, doing things I wasn't supposed to do. So of course I got in trouble, but I I can think back to them you know, making it easy for me to actually cook, you know, buying things that I can actually cook on the stove, and those pancakes were one of them. That was a good memory. Um, I love to cook. That's one of the things about me that I love, because I can cook. And that's not me boasting. That's just a fact, you know. Um, and one of the other things about me that I love is how particular and neat I love to keep my place. I'm very creative. I have a creative eye. I love to put things together. I love doing DIYs. It's also one of the other things that hinders me as well. Because sometimes people don't like to come over. I'm okay with that, but they don't like to come over because I'm too particular. Like, I don't like mess. I don't want you dropping nothing. If you don't pick it up, I have something to say about it, of course. You know, and I share this a lot, but my my daughter says that I need help. She says, "You need help. You got a problem. Nobody should be like that." I said, "No, nobody should be like that." What you do. You know, she said, "Mom, you like Monk." And for those who don't know, Monk is a detective on television who has OCD. I'm not that bad, I don't think, but I know that it's a hinder to me. So as of lately, I've been trying to be more lax, but I just can't help it. I can't help but be tidy. And I think right now, this is the most my place has been out of whack, because there's like plants and balloons and sympathy cards and a lot of my mother's things all over this apartment, right? And it's gonna be like this for a minute. But those are some of my joys and pains. Yeah, those are some of my joys and pains. Peace.
Peace. It's that it's such a good question. I had to really think. I was thinking a lot about that question, Sister Hopkins Bay. Um, I would say for me, the joy, things that I really do. I am similar to you. I care about my people. I care about building a nation, and I've done it ever since I was little. When I was little, I remember, um, it would pain me to see, particularly our brothers and sisters that were in need. And I would want to give them things. They don't want your stuffed animal, but I would want to. It always came through that I wanted to give, and even till today, some of the things that I really think about it. I for me, it's like, well, what can I do, is what I'm doing going to help support the greater good, the greater of our nation? When we were teenagers in the temple, I remember we did a car wash, and I was just like, we need to raise money. We wanted to actually go to Baltimore, and we didn't have money enough for our treasury. And I was like, okay, let's have a car wash because it'll benefit the community. We did it right in the corner of Brooklyn on Ralph Avenue. People thought we were crazy, but we did it. And it was the goal because we knew that we wanted to do something. And I felt like I always had to give. And it really does bring me joy to see our people prosper. I can't help it. If there's an Asiatic movie I want to support because I know I'm trying to support them. If it's Asiatic business, I know, I want to be able to give because I think sometimes I see others and how they support and rally behind everyone, and I want to do the same for mine as well. So I would say that is what is for me the joy. And I'm gonna have to pause for 1 second, and I can come back to the pain. Islam. Thank you for that. My mother came in the room. And I'm like, wait a minute, give me a second. For the pain, I'm going to jump in and just say that to that, sometimes I try to overthink things. I'm trying to overthink or trying to figure out the information that I need. And it's bad because, the prophet talks about, our soul, some of the actions is thinking, reasoning, and willing. And it's in the hand of a madman. It's like a sword in the hand of a madman. And it took me a while to get there to realize what was that, because I was almost glorifying, well, I could think my way out of it. And that's caused me to make some bad decisions. That's caused me to have the wrong people in my life, trying to overthink the situation or whatever was happening. And it's taken me to remember that one of the things I need to really, really work on, which it pains me sometimes, I need to go back to just being still and listen to, be attentive to thy spirit, to be good in the spirit of Allah. But I'm a work in progress, and I do, I mean, similar to what you were saying, Sister Hopkins, I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. I'm helping, I got the full-time job. I'm helping the children's school, volunteering there. I'm trying to do stuff with the temple because I feel like it's the right thing to do. And so, I get the opportunity to see my sisters and see how they move. And I love looking at Sister Griel, where she's like, she prioritizes, okay, you got to fill your cup up first. I love when she says that. And I love when it's not when she says it, I love when she demonstrates it. Because you'll be on the phone and she'll be like, okay, sisters, it's late. I remember at first, I was like, who is this woman telling me it's late? It ain't late. I'm 3 hours behind y'all. But you know what? But what it showed me was what she was doing was creating that peace that she needed. And I was like, she was showing me what I needed to do. Because if you call me at 10, 11 o'clock, I was like, oh, I got to be there for you. And she was telling me, actually, you don't. Not to the same way or whatever you can do. And I'll give honor to my husband. He's really good at that. He said, really irritate me with that. I'm like, I don't understand how when the phone ring, we supposed to jump. He's like, no, when the phone ring, you just ring. They'll leave a message, they text it, but you cooking. How you gonna cook and talk to this person and then get on the computer and give directions and you burning up the food? It's just like you just trying to do too much. And so that's a part of my joys and pains, and I'm saying it's present. It's not something that is in the past. It's the stuff I'm working on right now.
Yes. Yes.
Sister, when you were speaking of, I was thinking about how I also overanalyze things.
Mm.
And the prophet says the thought of affliction wounds deeper than the affliction itself. And we think
Yes.
about things and we can conjure up in our minds things that haven't even taken place yet, right?
Mhm.
Um, and also, you know, when we think back on things that have already taken place, those thoughts too wound deeper than the affliction
Mm.
that has already taken place. It's not just what hasn't happened, but it's already what's happened too. It's already happened. It's
Mm.
back
Yes.
there, you know. But those are some of my pains too, because I'm thinking about it's already happened.
Hmm.
It's good to reflect and
Mm-hmm.
and and honor to Brother P.J. Seal, the Grand Sheik of Temple 71 and Assistant Grand Sheik of the Movement. He always says we supposed to reflect. The prophet tells us to reflect, but don't stay there.
Right.
That's right.
Especially
That's
if it's a hurtful place, and I'm
Yes.
saying this, especially if it's a place that has harmed you or brought you some grief. Don't stay there.
Mm.
hmm
Like think of what to do to not get yourself back
Mm-hmm.
in that situation, opposed to waddling in that. You post keep it pushing, move
That's
forward.
right.
So thank you for bringing that up, sister.
Praise
Yeah,
the
when you just said that too, and I think it's a conference where you said anxiety, that where I was reading an article about anxiety and stress,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really interesting where it was to the point where the prophet says just what you said, Sigria. When you think about something, it physiologically changes the way your body responds, right?
Mm.
And it was saying how sometimes people that have anxiety or suffer with it sometimes, that their body is reacting as if they're in the pain right now, and it's
Come on.
it's trying to raise your blood pressure up. you know it causes stroke, and the threat isn't even there. And
Mm.
I was just like, okay, the prophet told us not to be not, the
Mm-hmm.
thought, it'll wound you more. Physically, they were saying how it wounds you. And I never really thought about it in the way of, what they were saying medically, how it can impact you. And so it's important your mental state impacts your stress and your anxiety, because really it all comes from here. It's
Mm.
it's 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 that thought. It's a thought
Right.
of what you're thinking and going on. And so um yeah, I would highly encourage people to read on what it does to your body. It'll scare you, you know when they talk about when people have heart attacks and strokes, sometimes they're not even doing nothing. They're thinking about it.
Wow. That's so
Mm.
really.
Islam, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying it was deep. But
Yes, indeed. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll read my question because we're running short of time. So I'll just go ahead and read this real quick. Okay, so there was a time that I literally begged Allah to remove people from my life that meant me no good because I was unable to do it myself. Then I begged him to lift the weight of my troubles and help me to embrace peace. It was also at that time that I became more active in my personal relationship with him. What are some of the things, if any, that you begged Allah for, and when did you notice He had delivered?
mm.
I'll change the word things that you asked Him for. For me, I just had to straight up beg, like please, you
Yeah.
know. That's begging, you know. Um, and my daddy used to always say, if you had to ask somebody for something more than once, you begging. So I was begging.
Mm.
So, what are some of the things, if any, that you had to ask? I'll say ask Allah for or beg Allah for, and when did you notice that He delivered?
Islam.
So,
I'll say one of the things I had to beg or ask Allah for would be coming coming out of that street life I was living. That it entailed many things. Um, and I had just gotten to a point where I would say I was at my bottom with that life. And I was sincere this one time because I had asked many a times, but not for myself. I had asked
mm,
Allah to bring me out many, 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 many times. because my mother was in my ear, um, because I was out on the street. Parents, put me out. They just couldn't take it no more. So many times I had asked, but never were they for myself. And when I got to a point that I sincerely asked for myself, and I was just at my wits' end with that life, um, when I knew that Allah had delivered, I would say it had been after some years um, of me seeing me on this side of the spectrum for a consistent time. Because, like I said, I had asked many times before and started out good and just didn't hold on to the thought. And this time, this last time, I knew that he had delivered. A lot of things had changed in my life. I started taking serious all that was suggested for me to do to stay on this side of the track. I actually started applying it. You know, I just started making changes that I never made before. I started being a mom, you know what I'm saying, to my kids, you know, going to work, holding a job. It took for me to see that he delivered, like this is really happening. So and it was, like I said, it was probably a year or more after I could see, because I had a run of a month, 6 months, doing good, and threw the towel in and went right back to what was most familiar. But there came a time when I didn't look back. I simply did not look back, and that was probably like a year later, because that was the longest I had ever ran. And then just looking at my behavior, looking at how I viewed things, I started changing my surroundings. People I hung with, I changed those things, and that's when I knew he had delivered. That's when I knew I was serious about this. Peace.
Praise the Lord. I would just say briefly, um, and I can say this. I ask Allah for forgiveness. I don't know if I've been forgiven. Um, but I also ask for him to show me how to be open and forgive. And those things I do see that are coming to fruition, being able to forgive those and move past the some of the hurt and pain that I've dealt with in my life. I definitely see the forgiveness from me, forgiving those who may not have known any better, or just for the fact that holding on to grudges and stuff like that is not good for you. So, praise Allah.
It's I know we are right at time, so I guess I'll quickly just say my thought. Um, there were difficult times when myself and particularly family members were ill, and I begged Allah for help and to kind of guide me through. And I watched him deliver. But I also, what I did watch him help me understand was that the reasons why I may not understand, everybody's on their path and everybody's on their journey. And so it really helped me in that moment realize that that might be that person's journey. I may not wish that on them, but that's that person's journey that they got to go through. And just like that first question, I need to be with them to hold them through that journey because that's theirs. So I know I'm answering that quick, and I would have given more, but we're at time. I just want to say thank you to our viewers for joining us this evening. I want to go ahead and let you all know we will be here in 2 weeks on April 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Please join us to come back again. Of course, in between that, though, we have our Universal Love Show, which is on Wednesdays, the day before, on April 27th. My brother and sister Adams Bay are our hosts. And actually, next week, our sister Elberry Bay and brother Berry Bay are going to be doing their show, Sakara Sacred Healing and Wellness. And as usual, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. is our holy day, and you can catch that here or wherever you just tuned in. And Sunday school is at 2 p.m. Both times are Eastern, and you can continue to hear more of some of this Moorish conversation. May Allah bless you all, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.